The topic of discussion is immunity from the chapter Human Health and Disease. Immunity is the ability of the host to fight off disease-causing organisms or pathogens from entering the body. Immunity is basically of two main types, innate immunity and acquired immunity. Innate immunity, it is a non-specific type of immunity where the host has got it from birth and it is in the form of barriers. Types of innate immunity. The types of innate immunity are, the first type is the physical barrier. Examples are skin. Skin prevents microorganisms from entering the body. Second example is mucus, that is produced by the epithelium of the GI tract, the respiratory tract and the urinogenital tract, and this mucus prevents the microorganisms from entering the body. The next example of innate immunity is physiological barrier. The acid in the stomach, the saliva in the mouth, tears in the eyes or the sweat all form physiological barriers. Third type is cellular barriers. Certain leukocytes, also known as white blood corpuscles or white blood cells, which are found in the blood. Example, the neutrophils, also known as polymorphonuclear leukocytes. The short form is PMNL. Then there are other leukocytes like the lymphocytes, the monocytes and the macrophages, which are found in the tissues. All these cells have got the capability of phagocytosis. That means they engulf or they eat up any microorganism that enters the body. So this is an example of cellular barrier. The next type of barrier is the cytokine barrier. So some cells which are infected by the virus, they are capable of producing a protein which is known as interferon, and this interferon prevents the virus from infecting other healthy cells. So this is with regard to innate immunity. Now let us move on to the next type of immunity, that is known as acquired immunity. So acquired immunity, as the name suggests, it is acquired by the host during its lifetime, and it is a specific type of immunity which is characterized by memory. So acquired immunity is concerned with the cells of the B lymphocytes and the T lymphocytes. B lymphocytes produce antibodies which is specific for a particular antigen, and the T lymphocytes help the B lymphocytes to produce antibodies. There are two types of responses that are seen. The first response is known as a primary response. When the body is exposed to the pathogens for the first time, it produces a primary response of low intensity. Subsequent exposure to the same pathogen will produce a secondary response of very high intensity. So let us speak about the structure of the antibodies. Antibodies are produced by the B lymphocytes. The T lymphocytes help the B lymphocytes to produce the antibodies. Antibodies are made up of 4 polypeptide chains. Two long chains which are also known as heavy chains, and 2 short chains which are known as light chains. So very commonly antibodies are described as H2 and L2. The body produces different types of antibodies like IgA, immunoglobulin A, immunoglobulin E, immunoglobulin G, immunoglobulin M, etc. So once again, immunity can be classified into humoral immunity or humoral response. So humoral, as the name suggests, this type of response is concerned with antibodies, and antibodies are produced by B lymphocytes, and antibodies are present in the blood. The next step of immunity is known as cell-mediated immunity. Cell-mediated immunity is concerned by the T lymphocytes. Whenever there is an organ transplant, then the organ is very often rejected by the host body, and this is because of the T lymphocytes, or which is concerned with the cell-mediated immunity. These T lymphocytes, they undergo phagocytosis of the transplanted organ, or they produce antigen-specific cytotoxins, or they produce cytokines which is going to destroy the transplanted organ. Therefore, an individual who has undergone an organ transplant has to take immunosuppressants all through his life after this transplant. Once again, acquired immunity can be broadly classified once again into two types, active immunity and passive immunity. So active immunity. Active immunity is a type of immunity where the host body produces antibodies in response to the antigen. The host body is exposed to the antigen through active infection or through the process of vaccination or immunization. The passive immunity, here the host body receives the antibodies through an external source. For example, a child will receive antibodies through colostrum, the milk that is secreted through the initial days of lactation. This colostrum is very rich in immunoglobulin A. In addition to that, the embryo also receives antibodies from the mother through the placenta. So, I have briefly carried out the topic of immunity. So, let me just once again revise this topic of immunity. Immunity is the ability of the host to fight off disease causing organisms, which are also known as pathogens. So, immunity is basically divided into two types, innate immunity and acquired immunity. Innate immunity is a type of, it is a non-specific type of immunity in the form of barriers which is present in the host at the time of birth. Acquired immunity is a pathogen-specific type of immunity which the host acquires during its lifetime. So I also spoke to you about the humoral immunity and cell-mediated immunity, and I also spoke about active immunity and passive immunity. Thank you.